So I would just love if you kind of introduce yourself to my platform and kind of a little bit about who you are and kind of maybe how we've met and a little bit about your history. I know a little bit, you're a nutritionist, holistic nutritionist, but I would love if you could kind of talk more about that.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Dave. I also go by David. They both work for me. And I am a registered holistic nutritionist. I'm also a marketer, a
Hmm.
content creator, and I live in Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
And I've worked as a nutritionist for almost 5 years. And
Wow.
previous to that, had worked in the advertising, marketing, content space. And now I'm kind of in a role that blends all of those different things together. I'm the head of content for a hydroponics company called Garden with a Y. And we could talk a little bit more about that. But basically, it's a system that allows people to garden indoors. It comes with like smart technology. You can do it all
Wow.
year, 12 months of the year, always have access to fresh produce and food, which is really
Wow.
interesting and neat. In the past, I've worked a lot with like one-on-one clients, also in group programs from a nutrition
Sure.
perspective. And I also have like, I think like a pretty fun Instagram where I just share fun content and
Okay.
things from a nutrition, lifestyle, wellness perspective,
Sure.
and really try and make it feel like not scary, relatable,
Mhm.
and um, just real. Like I'm not gonna tell you to buy something or do something if I don't believe in it.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, of what I know kind of you and like your social media presence is it's not very polished in a good way. Like it doesn't look right. It's playful, I think, and relatable. I think that's kind of what you're referring to here. And I'm sure that's why people kind of connect to you probably easier is what I would think.
I hope so. I mean, I think with the social media world, it can be something
Mhm.
that can consume people and can really wreck or be an identity thing.
Sure.
It can be tough to deal with or reckon with. I've been creating content, sponsored content for 8 years, content
Wow.
for since I was in college. So
Okay.
it to me is like a second skin that I wear at this point, and I think I have a very healthy relationship with it. Uh,
Sure.
and I'm grateful. I'm grateful
Yeah.
for that. It wasn't always that way.
Sure. And what does a holistic nutritionist mean? I guess that's a different way of putting that just a nutritionist, a dietitian, right? So what does holistic nutrition mean for you and how you've kind of approached that?
So it's a great question. I'm really glad you asked. I think there's in the nutrition space, there's a couple different titles you could see here. Here's someone like a nutrition specialist, a dietitian, a
Mm-hmm.
holistic nutritionist. It just means that the education path they went on is a little different. A dietitian is closest to a doctor
Okay.
in terms of traditional schooling and education. And then a nutritionist is more of a like a postgraduate degree or
Okay.
program of some kind. And so there's just different schools and paths and ways of looking at it. Holistic nutrition is really trying to look at nutrition from a holistic perspective and trying to not just be like, oh, well, if you do this, you'll get this outcome, sort of like how
Okay.
medicine looks at things. Holistic
Sure.
nutrition, well, how does your mental health factor into this? What's the
Sure.
time that you have? Like, how could we take in all of these different things into consideration when making recommendations for people?
Okay. And is that why you kind of, I correct me if I'm wrong, you like certified in holistic nutrition? It was like a process, right? To in order, I know that you've kind of been on your own journey, which I'm curious about in terms of wellness and nutrition. But then it sounds like you also pursued like a certification on how to do it and kind of be certified in it. What was that process like?
Yeah. So I'll just go all the way back.
Sure, I'd love
Let's
that.
do it. I know we want
Yeah.
to keep people interested because I get asked this question a lot. I'm actually doing like an informational interview on Friday with a friend who wants to get into nutrition. And so I get asked this
Wow.
question a lot. I think it's helpful for people
Sure.
who might be curious of going down this road. Basically, for me, I've always had digestive health issues since I was a
Ah,
kid, and it's something
mm,
I just had to deal with. And
okay.
as I got older, I realized that how I ate could and how I took care of myself would really impact my symptoms and how I felt. So I started to, get into that more of like in a hobby kind of way. I was
Sure.
always in college and in high school really into new media, always had a blog, all of those types of formats. And but I went to business school. I graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce out of university in Canada, where I'm from, and
Wow.
working in advertising out of
Okay.
university. And at the time I started a paleo food blog in 2011. That paleo food blog was the right subject, the right topic, the right medium at the right time.
Sure.
And it kind of just blew up on the internet. It was like
Yep.
on Pinterest, and I was posting recipes and talking about my paleo food journey.
Huh.
Previous to 2011, most people didn't know that word, but
Nope.
a book had come out called The Paleo Solution. And
Mhm.
as a lot of people know what that is now, that as a diet, it's become,
Yep.
it just kind of was like finally like the right intersection of things all happened.
Was that I know you called it a hobby, but was that like, I'm going to practice this paleo lifestyle to feel healthier? And then you just started posting about it and people just started following you. Just
Yes.
kind of happened. Wow. Okay.
My first moment on the internet was the paleo food blog in
Okay.
20, and I still lived in Canada, was working in advertising, and this was something I was just doing for fun. But you know,
Sure.
people even in my own community and my friend group, people were like, when they saw me and what they wanted to talk to me about was this paleo food blog, this diet that I was on. It became this thing that I became known for outside of like in my community. It just became this
Sure.
little bit of a thing. And then you know, I was doing it, and then I moved to LA. I was decided to leave Canada in 2013. I was working for a digital agency in Los Angeles. The paleo food thing had kind of not become my focus, but my Instagram by that point had started to grow, and it was like a platform where I was using it to share healthy lifestyle things. Within a couple of years, I think my Instagram had grown to like 45,000 followers. And I was like, oh, people are asking me all this nutrition and advice, and I'm not really certified in this, but it is something I've talked about. I used to write for a Canadian health and wellness blog. It just had been a passion area of mine. And then I was living in the US, working in the US, but decided to go back to school. And because of my background, and at least with all my relationships and the people I knew, I was more familiar with Canadian schools for this. So I did a remote program through the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. It was a 2-year diploma program, which I did in 3 years because I was working full time.
Wow.
It was a lot. It was a
Yeah.
lot.
And this isn't working in nutrition at the time. This is like working a marketing job. It sounds right. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was actually, funny enough, working within this digital agency, I had started an influencer marketing agency within this company that I worked at in LA.
Funny. Yeah.
And so it was just, then I was like understanding, like building my own influencer platform and, you know, going to school. It was a lot. And I like being busy. And I think you could like therapize me on like what I'm trying to run from by always being busy, or like what that is really happening there. I'm like open to that interpretation.
Maybe another time. Yeah.
That's something my therapist really comes for me on. Like even recently I've been talking, she's like, how's your new job? And I'm doing this. And then she's like, I'm seeing a pattern repeating itself.
How are you really? Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you go to therapy too. I love it. So it took you 3 years, and then did you eventually, I feel like the answer is yes, move away from, I know you did marketing on as a human being, but like, did you move away from marketing at the agency then?
I was doing too much. Once I got my green card through work, I left the agency job and finished school. I needed some time to like study and get all that done. And it was good to have just to be able to focus. Graduated, started doing nutrition full-time, content full-time.
Okay.
And I don't think I would have been able to do nutrition full-time without the content piece to support it. I think it would have been really challenging. And I just had a really good mix. But in recent years, this past year, I've discovered a company called Garden. It's an indoor hydroponics company. And they were looking for a new head of content with my background and experience in nutrition and content and in influencer marketing and advertising. It was really just the perfect combination of skills. And I'm really excited to be working there now and being able to use my skill set in a bit of a different way. I know we work together in a nutrition capacity, and I still do one-on-one consultations with people, just because I really like that way of connecting and way of like troubleshooting some issues and ways of like helping people in a 45-minute call. That's sort of what I have the bandwidth to do.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, now you have a full-time job as well, so it's the same kind of idea.